30% of investors coming to the Multifamily Conference next year want to improve their deal flow. Deal flow is huge as real estate investors, and in this video, I'm going to cover the 3 deal flow funnels that you have to master. So make sure you hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss more videos about building wealth through multifamily real estate. And if you don't know me, I'm Seth Ferguson, a 13-year real estate veteran, host of a real estate TV show, host of a real estate investing podcast, and I'm also the author of the real estate book, Sell for More. So let's get right into it and talk about multifamily deal flow. So you're probably familiar with the concept of a funnel, but just in case you're not, let's draw our funnel right here. So typically, and this happens when we're analyzing deals, when we're looking for investors, anything can be really put into a funnel. So at the top of the funnel right here is where we have the input. So this is where all of our opportunities are coming in. And then we walk it through a funnel process. So with deal flow, what we do is, let's say we have 200 deals coming in at the top. We walk through the underwriting process. So at first pass, we'll probably eliminate a good portion of these. A smaller amount will make it down to a full underwriting first pass. Another will make it through second pass, and we'll maybe end up with 5 LOIs being sent out, maybe 5 to 10. And then at the end of this, we'll probably have 1 to 3 deals that actually make it all the way through and get put under contract. This is the typical deal flow funnel, but this video we're talking about the 3 different ways we get properties, potential acquisitions into the top of the funnel. And there's 3 ways, like I said. So the first way is probably the most obvious one, and it's on market listings. And these are going to be marketed by a broker. Almost everybody's familiar with on-market listings, and these are the ones that are usually put on a multiple listing service. They're aggressively marketed by brokers, and everybody in the market will typically know about them. If you don't, you're probably living under a rock. Because one thing that brokers do really well is market listings and attract lots of buyers and sell the property for top dollar. Well, at least the best brokers do. I always say in real estate, especially with brokerage, it's not the 80-20 rule, it's like the 95-5 rule. So 5% of the brokers do most of the work and get the best results. And that is so true, especially in multifamily. So let's go into on-market listings with broker for a second. So we know that everybody sees them. So the competition will be stiffer, you can say. There's more people that are going to know about the deal, more eyeballs get to it. So when it comes to offer time, if we're doing a call for offers, obviously we're going to have to compete for it. This is why on-market properties, listed properties, will typically sell for more than other funnels that we'll talk about in a little bit, because it's just exposure. Exposure is the name of the game. So when we're dealing with on-market listings, we have to be really aggressive in what we're doing. So our underwriting has to be right on the ball, because typically, especially now in today's market, there's a whole lot of competition come offer time, and somebody's going to pay more money than everybody else. That's just the fact of it. If you have 10 different offers, well, somebody's going to quote unquote overpay for it to get the deal. They're going to pay more than everybody else. That's a competitive bidding situation. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to make sure that we have a good relationship or rapport with the broker, because we have to ask ourselves, when the broker is vouching for a certain buyer, why would they vouch for us? Or why would they push our offer or really highlight all the benefits of our offer to the seller? Well, we can offer a price, obviously, more money. We can also offer better terms. So not having due diligence or very compressed due diligence timelines, depending on the type of property. We can have hard money, that's included in terms, so deposit. Maybe it's hard from day one. It's not unusual to find people putting down a hard money deposit of $1 million these days just to seal the deal. So it's not all about price. When we talk about a real estate offer, price is one component. There's all sorts of other things that go into it. But money, the dollar figure, that never hurts. That's what people typically look at first. So we have price terms, deposit structure, all of those types of things. We just have to keep these in the back of our mind when we're looking at on-market listings, and we have to know that we're going to have to compete for these listings. But the majority of listings out there are listed, marketed by brokers, and brokers, whether you like it or not, control the vast majority of listings out there, because as a seller, why wouldn't you hire a broker to expose your listing to the majority of buyers out there and get a better price? It makes total sense. That's why the most listings out there, and if you want to get volume of listings into your deal funnel, you definitely want to be looking at on-market listings, marketed listings. Deal flow source number 2 is off-market listings but with a broker. And these are also called pocket listings. And if you're not familiar with the term pocket listings, it's almost like the broker has them always in the back of their pocket that they can pull out if they're talking with the right buyer. So typically with brokers, they're always on the phone in touch with potential sellers. And if they had a good conversation with the seller who's possibly considering selling, and they have a ballpark price that they're looking for, and that broker is speaking with a buyer such as yourself, and you guys tend to line up with the property you're looking for, the price and terms you're willing to put in the offer, and what the seller's looking for, well, that broker may take that listing out of their back pocket and present it to you. So when we're looking at off-market broker pocket listings, there's a couple different things than the on-market. Well, number one, there's less competition. Obviously, the broker is talking with their personal network about their pocket listings, but it's not exposed to all the other brokers out there. It's not publicly marketed, so there's less eyeballs, so there's going to be less competition. But then we have to ask ourselves, how can we position ourselves so the broker feels comfortable going to their pocket listing seller, their potential client seller, and saying, hey, listen, I've got this one buyer, this is their track record, this is what they're willing to offer, let's get a deal done. What's going to prompt that broker to do that? Potentially, it's a past relationship with that broker. Maybe we've done a deal with them before. We own properties or a portfolio in that area already, so we have street cred, we already have a footprint on the ground. And the last thing to keep in mind is that even though there's less eyeballs, the fact that it's off market, that seems to be like a light for bugs, if real estate investors could be called bugs. So whenever we have an off market listing, that's like the buzzword that attracts all real estate investor eyeballs. So if the broker has a good network, they may advertise it as off market, but it's being marketed to quite a number of people if they have a large network and they're hitting the phones. We have to keep that in mind. So we may have to employ or think about it the same way: price, terms, deposit. It probably won't be as competitive as on this side, but like I said, it all goes back to how the broker works their leads, how they work their network, and what type of marketing they're doing and how large their list is. So off-market broker deals are the second addition to our funnel. So we've already got on-market listings that everybody knows about. We've got off-market broker listings coming here. One thing I should mention with off-market broker listings is we have to do more work as real estate investors to get on that special preferred list. So on-market, everybody's willing to send you their newest listing, but off-market, this takes building trusting relationship with the broker. You have to be serious. Pick up the phone, have multiple conversations, show your track record, show that you're serious, show proof of funds, and then you'll probably get a sniff at their pocket listing. So this takes a lot more effort in terms of building the relationship than the on-market listings, but it definitely does pay off if you get onto that broker's preferred VIP list. So our third source of deals for our deal flow funnel is direct to seller. So you're probably asking yourself, Seth, you just said that a seller would be kind of silly not to list their property with their broker because they get so many more eyeballs, it's more competitive, they'll probably end up with more money. That is very, very true, but there are circumstances where a seller may want to sell directly to a buyer without having their property marketed. Well, one reason for that would be privacy or keeping a low profile. Sometimes people don't want the fact that they're selling their property to be known generally to the public. There's multiple situations where that would be an advantage to that seller just to fly under the radar, get their property done off the market without it being marketed or being shopped around on the phone. There's a number of different scenarios where that could play out. And if you are in contact with that seller at the right time, you guys can get a deal done. Another reason why a seller might sell directly to you would be speed of closing. Sometimes a seller, for whatever reason, may want to exit their property very quickly. And if you are in contact with that seller and you can offer a quick closing, whenever a broker lists a property, they have to go through the process, create the marketing package, and go through that full marketing exposure just to make sure we get all the eyeballs. That's what brokers do best. But if the seller needs a quick closing and you're able to provide that and go direct to the seller, well, that's definitely an advantage. And then this one gets talked about a lot, but maybe it's a distressed situation where the seller is in financial problems, they have issues, maybe the term on their financing, their loan is coming up and they can't get approved for another loan, whatever the situation is, maybe they have hardships, maybe it's a partnership breakup. There's all sorts of reasons why a seller would be in a more of a distressed situation. Maybe there was a catastrophic event at the property, such as a large fire, and they're having insurance issues, all sorts of reasons. This would be a distressed seller situation, and in that case, that seller wants to exit the deal. If you're in contact with the seller at the right time, you guys can get a deal done and bypass the listing process with the broker, as well as a broker getting a hold of the listing, even though it's in their back pocket, and shopping it around to their own personal network. Going direct to seller takes more work than going off market to the broker, because obviously the broker, their job is to make phone calls and build their network, so they're doing a lot of the legwork for you. You would be contacting a handful of brokers, and then through them, by extension, you would be in contact with many different sellers. By going direct to the seller, you're doing a whole lot of legwork, picking up the phone, beating the pavement, so to speak. But it does pay off if you can offer the seller a solution to one of their problems, and you guys can get a deal done. So this is the third way we bring properties into our funnel. The example I used is 200 properties come in at the top, and then we work through the different stages of our underwriting processes. Everybody's going to be a little bit different on how they run it, but you have first sniff, you toss out a whole bunch. First underwriting pass, you eliminate some more. Second underwriting pass, you eliminate some more. Then you write some LOIs. And then under contract, you get 1 to 3 at the end of it. So how do we improve our deal flow? Because this is one thing, like I said at the start of this video, 30% of investors coming to the Multifamily Conference next year. And I'll put a link in the description for that. Tickets are on sale right now. It's going to be an awesome event. But 30% of investors coming to the conference want to improve their deal flow. So how do we improve the deal flow? Well, these are the 3 ways we bring deals into our funnel. So it's just a matter of, are we being exposed to as many on-market listings as possible? If so, yeah, that's a check mark. Then off-market broker. How many broker relationships do we currently have? Well, if we want to expand our deal flow, obviously on-market listings is going to be the largest portion, but then we have off-market broker listings. So if we want more off-market broker listings, bring more brokers into our network and build that relationship. So maybe we have 10 strong broker relationships, well, double it to 20. And that's going to increase your deal flow and bring more deals into the top of your funnel. So maybe you go from 200 to 230 or 240 over the year. And then direct to seller. Again, you're going to be putting in the most work, burning the midnight oil with this one. But again, if you're looking to expand your deal flow, increase your deal flow, and end up with more deals at the bottom here, well, maybe you have to create a special team in your business to target direct to sellers. So you're going to maybe have 1 or 2 salespeople on the phone, hitting the phones, meeting up with people, maybe even doing some sleuth work and detective work to find out who actually owns the property. But again, this pays off if you can be in the right place at the right time. So how do we improve deal flow? Well, you're just improving all 3 of these things, and it all comes down to systems that you're employing in your business. And we're definitely talking about this at the Multifamily Conference. We have a number of speakers talking specifically about deal flow, because you guys said what you wanted, which was deal flow and capital raising. Capital raising was the number 1 thing that people want to learn about, but deal flow is number 2, and this is why we're bringing some amazing speakers to the Multifamily Conference. So if you like this video, if you found this useful, hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. It really helps out the channel. And until next time, happy investing.